want to give you an update on where we're at on the budget. We, of course, we fought hard to ensure that in the budget there is some relief for Canadians. That relief includes the Renters Protection Fund to keep people in their homes, to keep them to prevent them from the fear of being rent-evicted or evicted out of their homes. So that Renters Protection Fund is crucial.
He doesn't know what to say. He's stumbling. All he truly cares about is that pension. And the rest of us are out here. I don't know, guys. This is getting brutal.
We also fought to include a school food program that's going to help kids get a nutritious meal, as well as save money for parents who are wondering and worried about the cost of groceries. We also fought to ensure that there's free diabetes medication and devices for Canadians, as well as free birth control. Again, a cost savings measure, also improve access to important health services. All these things, Pierre Poilievre wants to take away from people. He's been very clear. He would take away pharmacare. He would take away diabetes medication and device coverage. He would take away birth control, which is not surprising because he also wants to take away dental care. He wants to cut and gut the services that people need. That's what Pierre Poilievre is all about.
Yes, Pierre and the Conservatives want to cut a lot of these programs, and they've been very honest about it. It's because they cost a lot of taxpayer money, and they don't actually do anything. They just got a fancy name to them. The lunch program, for example, to feed hungry kids in school. It's not actually to feed hungry kids. All the money goes to bureaucracy, to pay a bunch of people to sit around a table to talk about how to feed hungry kids. They're going to cut these programs because they're taking taxpayers' money and they're not doing anything.
We also raised concerns, though, about things that were not adequate. We raised concerns about the disability benefit, how the amount was too little, not enough people were able to access it, and there's still real fears about the province clawing back an amount which is already too little. We also raised concerns about Indigenous services and a lack of justice for Indigenous people. One of the issues in particular that we raised was the fact that Jordan's principle is not being adhered to. Reports have come out, and the Jordan's principle, for folks should know what this is that if an Indigenous child needs care, that the care should be provided first, and then questions of jurisdiction should be worked out afterwards. And the federal government's commitment in this respect is to make sure there's a decision within 12 hours of a matter when it's raised. Well, they're not meeting that requirement. In fact, they're missing it 66% of the time. They're only actually satisfying it a third of the time, which is abysmal and very bad. And so we've raised those concerns. I raised those concerns with the Prime Minister, and my update today is that we've made some progress. There were some commitments that were provided. There are still some outstanding questions before we make our final determination on the budget, but there was progress made, and there were some commitments that were delivered on those concerns.
So Jagmeet and the NDP are scared. They don't know if they should support the budget or be against it. They know there's a lot of things wrong with it. They have a lot of questions, of course, you hear them saying, but they have no idea what to do here, and they're scared.
Mr. Singh, media were told earlier today that you were going to stand here and tell us your definitive position on whether or not you were going to support the budget. Then we were told you weren't ready to make that decision. What happened today? Why was that switch up so rapid?
There are some outstanding elements that we're still waiting on. There were some commitments made, and I want to be very clear. I'm particularly concerned about the two elements that I raised just earlier, the disability benefit as well as Jordan's principle. On those two, there were some commitments made, but I want some more clarity around those commitments. Again, some progress has been made, but I wanted some more clarity before I can make before we make our final decision clear.
What were those commitments? What were those commitments?
Without getting into the negotiations in public, I can say that there was some progress made, there were some positive steps, but there's additional elements that required clarification, and I need to hear that clarification before I can move forward.
Can you say, is it more money? Like, are the feds offering more money for this?
Well, what's clear to me, I can answer that directly. What's clear to me is that the federal government is not signaling an intention to increase the amount, so we're going to keep on fighting on that. Where more progress is being made is around ensuring that the clawback question is being addressed. So we're looking to see more commitments around that, and we're going to continue to fight back, though. We disagree with them strongly on the fact that the amount is so small and they're not seeming to move on that. we'll continue to fight back because we know the people in the disability community have raised this concern. I know the Liberals have heard those same concerns, so we'll continue to fight for a more fair amount. We're seeing some progress on the clawback question.
If you got that many questions about the budget and you're not getting proper answers and you got to keep delaying on if you're going to support it or not, then it's probably not a good budget.
Motion regarding what are your thoughts on BC wanting to change drug decriminalization?
What's clear to me is that BC has taken a position strongly in favor of making sure we address the harms that people are living with. I can tell you from my experience, I worked in criminal defense as a defense lawyer for a number of years, and I represented clients that were living with or struggling with addiction. I can tell you it did not help those people to arrest them, to bring them to a bail hearing, to put them through the criminal justice system, to sometimes jail them. That did not benefit those people, did not help them with their addiction, did not help them with their mental health concerns. And ultimately, I believe that all Canadians want to save people's lives. That's what we need to do. All the evidence, including from law enforcement and other health experts, is that we've got to keep people alive in order to give them the opportunity to go to rehab, to get the supports they need, to beat their addiction or address their mental health concerns. And that's what I believe in. I fundamentally believe in that. I know that we should be saving lives, and the approach that we've seen in the past of criminalizing people that need health care does not work.
So now we got to feel bad for drug addicts. It's not their fault that they're doing drugs and selling them to kids, and arresting them doesn't work. It's bad for their mental health. We can't arrest these people and put them in jail. How dare we? This makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. These people are being caught in the act of doing a crime. They need to be arrested and charged and be sentenced. As simple as that. I refuse to feel bad for them. They will get the help if they want the help and receive the help. Like, it's there. It's available. It's always been available. But I hate being the bad guy. Not everybody's going to take the help. There's a lot of success stories out there. And that's why we appreciate them so much. But to feel bad for the criminals and saying arresting them is not solving the issue, well, of course, it's never going to solve the issue. We're always going to have people out there who are doing the drugs, committing the crimes, but don't want the help. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
We also need to keep people safe, though. And I understand the importance of making sure that we've got measures in place that keep kids safe in playgrounds. And those are measures that New Democrats, of course, support.
On the auto workers plant, the Conservatives are proposing a motion where they want to know exactly how many temporary foreign workers there would be. Would you support this motion?
I need to know the details of the motion before we make a decision about that motion. I understand that that's not exactly what the Conservatives are proposing. They're proposing to open up all contracts, and I've heard serious concerns about that jeopardizing the project.
Yes, Conservatives want open contracts, and they're going to put a motion to get them because the Liberals just won't tell us what's in these contracts. And we want to know why they're bringing in 1,300 foreign workers to do the jobs Canadians can do.
What we've said our position is, one is, whenever we give public money to projects in our country, we need ironclad guarantees that will create jobs in Canada that are good paying, union jobs, and that the work stays in the country. We need those guarantees. We have seen in the past, and most recently with the Next Gen project in Windsor, that there are concerns that work is being done by foreign workers that should be done by Canadians. That is something that needs to be addressed in the strings attached to the funding to ensure that jobs are Canadian, they're good paying, union jobs, and they stay in the country.
But they're not union jobs staying in the country for Canadians. They're being subcontracted out to foreign workers. This is why we want open contracts.
Last question. Were you initially prepared to come here today and say that you were going to support the budget, and now you're just saying you need more clarity? The Liberals have been vague on a few things. Is it in their court, or were you actually prepared this morning to say you were going to support it?
I received some commitments, and I indicated that there was some progress, but there were some outstanding questions that I needed to answer before I could give our final decision. Thanks so much. Merci. Thank you.